What's up, guys? It's that guy with the pencil here, and let's get into it. Okay, so I didn't do a chapter review for 338, and I waited really long to do chapter 339 because I was thinking a lot about these chapters. Because what I like to do is I like to think on these chapters, wonder what can I really talk about here that is something interesting to listen to, and I come to the conclusion I couldn't have made a chapter review on 338 that had anything meaningful other than almost empty speculation, because we had too little information at the time, and you could have made 1,000 leaps and bounds about Cath and whatever he was, unless you knew Arthurian mythology, which I'm still not reading. And I know people are probably wondering, why aren't you reading Arthurian mythology? Why aren't you reading up on it since the series is so heavily based on it? Because I don't want to accidentally spoil myself, which is something I apparently would have done if I had read up and known about Cath all along, Cath Balrog, as he's revealed to be in chapter 339. So, some things about these two chapters. One, Merlin is a traitor. There's no external debate about this anymore. There's nothing you can do to deny it. My hopes, even my hopes are going down for the Merlin parts of the Merlin story being a lie. Because so far, Merlin, not so far, she's gone now. Merlin refuted none of it. She refuted nothing about loving Meliodas. She refuted nothing about wanting to search for chaos, only for chaos. She had no argument about using Arthur for her own selfish ambitions. Merlin is a bad person, which is interesting. But I'm still extremely torn on Merlin, especially for how geez, do I say awful? Merlin is an awful character in retrospect, but it's not like I can say this wasn't built up. It's perfectly logical for Merlin just to use people, because I feel like Merlin doesn't see people. Merlin sees tools. Even Escanor, a person that loved her to the end because of what she was and who she was, she just used the entire time. Except for 2 seconds near the end, Escanor was always a tool for Merlin. The 7 deadly sins were just tools for Merlin. Everything in the world was just a tool for Merlin. And it was a tool for such an unsatisfying, honestly, I would have preferred if Merlin's motivation had nothing to do with Meliodas, but if it was just because of what her sin is, the gluttony for knowledge. I would have loved if there was some way that they could have made it work. And I feel like it wasn't even that hard to make it work. Just make Merlin literally the exact same situation. Let her get saved by Meliodas and everything. Just have her not fall in love with him and then get unrequited love from Meliodas. What you could have done there is just had her search for infinite knowledge, because Meliodas broadened her perspectives. Sure, she had all the perspectives of Bali-Alwyn. She had all the things she could do there. But to make those perspectives even wider was her getting saved by Meliodas. Meliodas opened up the world to her. That meant, are there more beings out there like Meliodas? How powerful are they? And then she stumbles across chaos, and she wants to see. She wants to get more knowledge and learn more about the world, because she just wants to. And I know that sounds like an even weaker motivation than what we have right now. But Xehanort, I know I'm branching off way wild real quick, but Xehanort, Kingdom Hearts, before Kingdom Hearts 3, he had one of my favorite motivations. He wanted to restart. He wanted to have another Keyblade War and awaken Kingdom Hearts just to see what would happen. And that is the most raw motivation I've ever heard. And just like the retcon with Xehanort in Kingdom Hearts 3, they retcon Merlin's motivation to just be love for Meliodas. And just like Xehanort's motivation in Kingdom Hearts 3 suddenly became he wanted to restore balance. I mean, that's cool, I guess, because I'm a very big fan, and I'm going to get into why I really, really like what what Nakaba Sensei has done with Arthur when it comes to making him a symbol of balance. But to talk specifically about why that retcon is so weak and why I feel like the hunger for knowledge and just interest is so much better is because it allows for you to have such a honestly not really chaotic character that is unstoppable, because there's nothing you can do to really predict them. There's not really a pattern of logic to them. It's not like you can really ask them to stop going after what they want. And it's not like what Merlin's going after is something that was honestly worth all she's done. Putting it into perspective, if we just actually think about it, numbers are big in Taisai. Merlin has had this plan for over 3,000 years. 3,000 years. And this plan has spanned multiple millennia, countless lives, unbelievable amounts of suffering for multiple people that she knows and has spent an exorbitant amount of time with, especially Meliodas. And yet, it was all just because she loved Meliodas, but he didn't love her back. Like that's the reasoning you're giving us. That's your reasoning for this 3,000-year-old plus plan to revive this being that not people are sure even exists and work alongside this Lady of the Lake, who we still know nothing about. Like, I don't know what the Lady of the Lake is, but I digress. Merlin is still an interesting character. It's just that I don't like why she's doing everything she's doing. And I'm still holding out hope, because I trust Nakaba. I'm holding out hope that somehow, in some way, Merlin not be redeemed. I don't even care that Merlin's like an antagonistic character. I like stuff like that. I just don't like the motivation for it. What I want and would greatly love to see is some way that Nakaba flips it, so it's more interesting than just unrequited love. I'm gonna make Arthur get possessed by this terrifyingly powerful being without his consent because I'm sad and lonely. Because the guy who I met like once didn't love me back because I was a child. Okay, getting off of Merlin. Let me talk about Kath. So Kath, it was a shock when I initially read it. I'm just like, what? There's no build up to this? What the heck? I keep almost saying Horikoshi. What the heck, Nakaba? I think I'm probably gonna record a Boku no Hero review after this. What the heck, Nakaba? Why is Kath like this? But it actually it super makes sense when you think back to it, because every time Kath defeated an enemy, like, he ate them. Peronia was eaten by Kath. Like, Kath literally eats things all the time, and he's always shown like nomming on Arthur or licking Arthur, I guess just to warm up his taste buds. So that always made some degree of sense, and this is honestly all that Kath was stressing. Kath was always stressing, Arthur, wake up your true power. Arthur, come on now. Arthur, what's the point? Why are you waiting so long, Arthur? Arthur, if you don't wake up that true power, I'm going to get so sad when you die. Don't die, Arthur. But, so that all works. That all works. I'm actually completely fine with that. What I don't like is that Merlin's dumb. Like, she knew what Kath was. She's seen Kath multiple times. And she apparently always had this source of Lady of the Lake for over 3,000 plus years. And never asked about what Kath is. Merlin, who knew about Chaos, and even Meliodas, technically, probably, at this rate, 4th or 5th most knowledgeable character in the entire series. You know, he's been around for 3,000 plus years in the actual mortal realm. Meliodas didn't even know what Chaos was, but Merlin had a full understanding of that, and had the Lady of the Lake. And Merlin somehow didn't know about Kath? Didn't consider Kath a threat? Didn't eliminate Kath on sight? That's weird. That's a bit weird. And the fact that Kath is... I also find it weird that Kath is honestly that strong. Like, without the Chaos. With the Chaos, it makes sense, but the fact that Kath's strong enough to lunge in, open his maw, so, well, you know what, he could have been... No, it doesn't make sense for him to suppress himself, because he almost died multiple times. Like, he almost died against Chandler and Cusack, I'm pretty sure. So, I don't know. Kath is weird. However, I don't mind, because... almost as I kind of hope, Kath got one shot by Arthur. And Kath made a dimension. Like, that's just the thing. He made a pocket dimension with only a fraction of Chaos's power. And, well, unquantifiable for right now until we learn the size of the dimension. It didn't even seem to be that big. It just seemed to be like a replication of his mouth in another dimension. The really cool thing is Arthur did something amazing. He was still so nice. Arthur is such a nice character. It makes me feel so sad. I feel like he's gonna go down some dark route, either because of Merlin or because I think Arthur went down a dark route in the original Arthurian legend. He literally asked Kath, "What am I to you?" And Kath is like, "Bro, You're a whole 5-course meal, dog. Hurry up and get in my mouth real quick. That's basically what Kath said. And Arthur's like, but we were friends, weren't we? And Kath was like, nah, dog. I was just waiting for you to hurry up and wake up. Like, friends? I can't even spell friends, dog. Now let me eat you real quick. And Arthur's just like, thank you. Thank you so much. And I don't even think Kath responds to that. But Arthur is like, thanks. Now I know. I can kill you without any remorse. Bro. And like, what you're watching me draw right now, it is the panel. Like my favorite panel across 2 chapters. And what is so, like, epic for me about this panel, it's an epic looking panel, but you'll notice I draw it differently. I try to make it a bit more somber. Because Arthur kind of flips the switch from I'm a nice guy to I'm immediately going to murder you again. He went Excalibur mode again, like he did way back when he initially got Excalibur and used it against the Demon Brothers and Chandler and Cusack. But I still almost feel like Arthur still should have been like, had a little bit more he should have been a little bit more sad. Like, even though this is like a drastic betrayal, this is still a person that's been with Arthur since like chapter 120. It's been a journey with Kath. It's been a long minute since Kath and Arthur became a duo, and I almost feel like, actually no, it kind of works. It really does work. I still drew him somber, but what works so much about this is that Arthur understands. Like, Arthur isn't a child anymore. In the previous chapter, he's talking about, I don't want, like Merlin and Meliodas are arguing, I don't want you two to argue over a silly kid like me. You guys are my heroes, my idols. I owe Merlin so much because of everything she's done for me. Please, don't argue over me. And in this chapter, Arthur snaps. Straight into, yes, this is my responsibility now. I let this happen, and I'm going to fix my mistake. He slices open the dimension and instantly slaughters Kath. Because the time for remorse is gone. He got his answer, just like Meliodas did against his father. He gave his father one last chance. But just like the Demon King, Kath said, "No, whatever. No, I'm gonna kill you regardless. I'm not a good person." And both Meliodas and Arthur went through with it. They executed someone they cared for because the person that they thought they were was not accurate. It's not who they truly were, and that they needed to die in that moment. And that, powerful. Like, I like how Arthur was pretty much forced to grow up in a matter of 10 seconds. He had just lost his arm, but he knew the stakes were so high in that moment. Because if Kath truly had eaten Arthur, Kath's hype is that Kath was a being that originally wanted to become the King of Chaos. He wanted all that power for himself so he could rule the world, probably remake it over in his image, all that bad stuff. So, if Kath had eaten Arthur, that would have been it. That like story over. Because according to Meliodas and Bond, and King, everyone's tired. So no one's even there to fight. Merlin can't do anything with her infinite magic. She blasted in the dimension, and they can't even tell if they're doing any damage to Kath or whatever dimension they're in. But Arthur, like I said, he snaps. And Kath is dead. And that is honestly pretty wild. Like, I understand why it had to happen quick, though. Because I feel like the backlash towards how long the Demon King fight went on, it may have either been heard by Nakamura or this was always intended, but I feel like it's effective because it's so quick and forceful. So I'm glad that Arthur went through that. Like, I'm looking right back at the chapter right now, and I see how, like, Arthur yeah, like, it's weird to say, but Arthur literally he grows up in a moment and is just like, yep, this old friend of mine needs to die, and he just bodies him. However, it does cost him a lot of his energy, and he passes out. And that's where the chapter ends. Merlin leaves Seven Deadly Sins, or I guess the 5 deadly sins now, and takes Arthur. Now, to talk about speculation, the story isn't over, obviously. It can't be over. If it is, weird place to end. But the whole thing about the goddesses were mentioned once again. We're just going to go into it right now. I know everyone's probably getting sick and tired of me repeating every single video that I have about 7 Deadly Sins. I do straight up believe that in one way or another, the Supreme Deity has to get involved. I'm hands down. There's like nothing now. Because all the theories about Kath secretly being the Supreme Deity, wrong. So, that means the Supreme Deity still out there. Goddess Clan did this to Kath. Kath was literally that much of a threat that the Goddess Clan decided to seal him up. I don't know how Elizabeth doesn't know about that, or Meliodas doesn't know about that, or Merlin didn't know about that, but whatever. This is a problem that has to be addressed now, because Merlin has taken, quite literally, the most powerful thing in the universe. Like, in the verse right now. That's in the mortal realm, and just keeping it on her. And, like, I'm referring to Arthur as it, because Arthur obviously still doesn't have control over his powers. He used them once, he bodied Kath, and passed out. So now Merlin, essentially, because I feel like Merlin isn't even going to work with the Lady of the Lake anymore, because Merlin got what she wanted. Merlin used the Lady of the Lake, and that's it. But now that Merlin has complete and total access to Arthur, uninhibited, and full power with Holy Sword Excalibur, which is brought back now again in this whole new form. Once again, maybe Merlin's going to be the final villain, but the Supreme Deity must be addressed. We got all the answers about Chaos. Hawk's mama, the main source of transportation, is gone because Chaos is in Arthur now. And yeah, like that's like, other than us going on a side adventure with Arthur and Merlin, and I feel like the really interesting place for this to go is to have Merlin snap. And by Merlin snap, I mean like not maybe Ish lose her mind and like try to hunt down the Supreme Deity. Like if the Supreme Deity isn't going to be an active character for whatever reason, if Nakaba really doesn't want to do that, then he can literally just send Chaos King Arthur at the Supreme Deity, or Merlin can send him at the Supreme Deity because she just wants it gone. Because otherwise, like, what is the legitimate point to awakening Chaos? Why? Merlin doesn't have control over the power unless she uses Arthur. So once again, I'm up in a great place. I have no idea where this story's gonna go. I'm mad that chapter 340 isn't up right now because I'm just wondering where's the series gonna go. Come on, Nakaba, give me my new chapter. So that's great. I'm glad I don't know where the series is gonna go, and I feel so weird about speculating it because there's just so much talk about the Goddess Clan and the Supreme Deity, but they haven't done anything. Like, the Archangels were cool. Mael was cool. The Graces are cool. But other than that, where are we with the Goddess Clan? Like, the Demon Clan, fully established. We got the entire royal family except for Meliodas' mom, but moms don't matter, I guess. We got the 10 Commandments, their elite group. We got the subdivisions. We got the weaker demons. We got a whole class of them. But we know so little about the Goddess Clan. Well, we know about the hierarchy, obviously. But, like, there should be zero excuse for the Supreme Deity to stay out of the story anymore. And I'm going to just keep hammering that point. Because you can't do that. It's not effective to introduce something so important and cool and possibly interesting, only to be like, oh, you thought all that build-up was cool and nice and you wanted to see it go somewhere? Too bad. We're not using the Supreme Deity. Like, that's a loose end that can't be left hanging. Because honestly, especially now that Kath is gone, we don't have, in particular, unless we're making Merlin the antagonist, there is no antagonist for the 7 Deadly Sins to continue. If you'll notice, every time an antagonist was beaten in Taizai, what happened was a new antagonist was either brought into the story after a short break, or it was already set up. Like, right after Hendrickson came the commandments. Right after the commandments came Zeldris was already there. He was just a higher level member of the commandments. After that, Estarossa, who became Mael, was already there. Then after that, the Demon King was always there. Like, but now that we've run out of people, run out of theoretical threats that we know of, the only logical pattern is to bring in the Supreme Deity or to make Merlin the antagonist, or else Seven Deadly Sins probably won't continue. So there's a toss up there. I'm interested to see where Nakaba goes with it, and I really can't wait. And depending on the chapter content, I may just have to make another chapter review immediately. But we'll see. Oh, and to specifically I mentioned it earlier, but I don't think I ever went into it. Arthur is balanced, and I really, really like that. Because if you look at his sword, especially in that shot, I didn't notice it until I reread the chapter like twice. And I drew the panel, obviously, but what makes up the Holy Sword are both components of light and darkness. The bats and the birds. Like, perfectly balanced, as all things should be. That's literally what Arthur is right now. He's accessing both powers at once and using them, and that's cool. It's a great aesthetic for Arthur. It always kind of made sense. Wait, I'm trying to think of Arthur's color design. Was it black and white? But I think even, like, the clothes he's wearing are actually black and white. Just like he's actually light and darkness, and now he's possessing the Chaos King is possessing him, and now he is perfectly balanced. I find that really, really cool and effective. I feel like it's a great aesthetic. But other than that, I've run out of things to say. These chapters were good in combination, except for Merlin. And honestly, even the next chapter, I just thought of this. Honestly, I wouldn't mind if we spent the next chapter grilling the Lady of the Lake. Like, Meliodas gets healed up by Elizabeth, and just like, if you don't explain yourself, I'm gonna vaporize you. Like, I want answers from the Lady of the Lake, because I hope Nakaba doesn't just throw the Lady of the Lake aside, like, oh, Merlin's gone, too bad we can't progress the story anymore, get any more information. Nah, Lady of the Lake is even more knowledgeable than Merlin, so I want to know who she is, what she is, where she came. I don't want to know everything. I just want that loose end. That's now a loose end to be tied up to. That's it. Let me cut off for here. Now, I'm taking too long. So, this was That Guy with the Pencil, talking about Natsu no Taizai, or Seven Deadly Sins, chapters 338 and 339. And I am currently writing off.